The studio lights were still warm, the quiet hum of equipment filling the room as conversations drifted between producers, engineers, and a handful of insiders who had been invited for what was supposed to be just another listening session. Another track, another drop, another moment in a never-ending cycle of music releases that defined the global industry. But what unfolded in that room would ripple far beyond its walls. Because when the first beat of Hooligan hit, everything changed, and when it ended, Diplo didn't speak, he just stared. Jungkook, the golden maknae of BTS, the artist known for his flawless vocals, polished image, and magnetic stage presence, had just revealed a side of himself that no one, absolutely no one, was prepared for. Not even someone like Diplo, a veteran who had seen trends rise and fall, genres collide, and global icons reinvent themselves countless times. Yet this was different. This wasn't just reinvention. This was disruption. The track itself didn't ease in gently. There was no soft intro, no gradual build-up. Hooligan slammed into existence with an aggressive bass line, layered with distorted synths that felt almost chaotic, yet meticulously engineered. It was raw. It was loud. It was unapologetically rebellious. And then Jungkook's voice came in. Not the smooth, angelic tone fans were used to hearing in ballads or polished pop tracks. No, this voice carried grit. It carried edge. It carried something deeper, something darker, something dangerous. From the very first line, it was clear that Hooligan wasn't just a song. It was a statement. A declaration that Jungkook was no longer confined by expectations. Neither those of the industry nor those placed upon him by millions of fans who had watched him grow from a teenage trainee into a global superstar. He wasn't asking for permission anymore. He was taking control, and Diplo knew it. Witnesses in the room would later describe the moment as surreal. As the chorus exploded, an anthemic blend of defiance and swagger, Diplo leaned forward, his hand slowly rising to his chin, eyes locked on the screen, as if trying to process what he had just heard. He wasn't smiling, that he wasn't nodding, that he was stunned, because this wasn't just good. This was a shift, the kind of shift that sends shockwaves through an entire industry. The kind of shift that forces even the most established names to pause and reconsider everything. Because when an artist like Jungkook decides to step outside the lines, to break the mold so completely, it doesn't just affect his own trajectory. It changes the game for everyone. And Diplo, someone who has built a career on staying ahead of the curve, recognized that instantly. After the track ended, there was silence, not the awkward kind, not the polite kind, the kind of silence that follows something powerful, something undeniable, something that demands to be felt before it can even begin to be understood. And then someone in the room exhaled. Another shifted in their seat. But Diplo remained still, because in that moment, he wasn't just reacting as a listener, he was reacting as someone who knew exactly what this meant. The music industry thrives on predictability masked as innovation. Trends are carefully calculated, risks are measured, and even bold moves are often backed by layers of safety nets. But Hooligan didn't feel calculated, that it felt instinctive, that it felt real, that it felt like Jungkook had reached a point where he no longer needed to fit into any predefined narrative. He had created his own. And that's what made it so powerful. As the conversation in the room slowly resumed, people began exchanging glances, subtle nods, quiet murmurs that hinted at a shared realization. This was big, bigger than a single track, bigger than a comeback, bigger than a moment. This was the beginning of something. And yet, what made it even more intriguing was the contrast. Because just days before, the world still saw Jungkook as the same artist they had always known. The same global icon who could dominate charts with a pop hit, melt hearts with a ballad, and electrify stadiums with his stage presence. But now there was something else, a new layer, a new identity, a hooligan. The word itself carried weight. It wasn't just about rebellion. It was about rejecting norms, challenging authority, and embracing a kind of chaos that refuses to be controlled. And in the context of this track, it felt deeply intentional. Every lyric seemed to push against expectations. Every beat felt like a statement. Every moment of the song demanded attention. And perhaps that was the most shocking part of all. Not that Jungkook could do this, but that he chose to do it now. Because timing, in music, is everything. In this moment, it couldn't have been more perfect. The global music scene has been in a state of transition. Genres are blending, audiences are evolving, and the definition of what it means to be an artist is constantly being redefined. In this environment, standing out requires more than just talent, it requires courage. And Hooligan was nothing if not courageous. As news of the track began to spread, reactions poured in from all corners of the world. Fans were divided, some shocked, some thrilled, all captivated. Social media exploded with clips, reactions, theories, and debates about what this meant for Jungkook's future and for BTS as a whole. Was this a solo direction? A teaser of what's to come? A glimpse into a new era? No one knew for sure. But everyone had an opinion. And that's exactly what makes a moment like this so powerful. It sparks conversation. It creates curiosity. It demands engagement. Meanwhile, industry insiders began analyzing every aspect of the track. The production choices, the vocal delivery, the lyrical themes. Everything was dissected in an attempt to understand how and why this had happened. But perhaps the answer was simpler than anyone wanted to admit, because sometimes an artist evolves not because they have to, but because they want to. And Jungkook? He wanted this. You could hear it in every note. You could feel it in every beat. You could see it in the way Diplo reacted, caught completely off guard, yet fully aware of what he had just witnessed. A moment, a shift, a transformation. As the days passed, Hooligan continued to gain momentum. Streams skyrocketed, charts were dominated, and the conversation only grew louder. But beyond the numbers, beyond the metrics and the headlines, there was something else happening, something deeper. A recognition. Because moments like this don't come often. Moments where an artist doesn't just release music, but redefines themselves. And in doing so, challenges everyone else to keep up. Diplo's reaction became a symbol of that moment. Not just because he was surprised, but because his surprise reflected a larger truth. No one saw this coming. And yet, now that it's here, it feels inevitable. Because perhaps Jungkook was always capable of this. Perhaps the signs were always there. Perhaps it just took the right moment, the right mindset, the right spark to bring it all together. And when it did, it didn't just make noise. It made impact. The kind of impact that lingers. The kind of impact that reshapes expectations. The kind of impact that leaves even the most experienced voices in the room speechless. Diplo wasn't just shocked. He was witnessing history in real time. And the rest of the world, they're just starting to catch up to So the question now isn't whether Hooligan is a hit. That part is already clear. The real question is, what happens next? Because if this is just the beginning, then the world better be ready. Because Jungkook isn't just stepping into a new era, he's creating one. And this time, there are no rules. Jungkook has done it again. But this time, an 01 was ready. When BTS's golden maknae dropped Hooligan, the entire music world felt the shockwave, and even global producer Diplo couldn't hide his reaction. What exactly made this track so powerful? Why are fans calling this Jungkook's boldest transformation yet? In this video, we break down the moment that left Diplo speechless, the hidden meaning behind Hooligan, and why this release might mark the beginning of a completely new era for Jungkook and BTS. Is this the most daring concept Jungkook has ever shown? Is Hooligan the song that will dominate global charts? And what does this mean for BTS's future? Watch until the end and decide for yourself. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more BTS updates. Purple Heart, join our community. Jungkook Lover.